Greetings and welcome to the Tonic Man Show. The Tonic Man Show, for those of you who are new to the call, is a fond description of what we have been doing for well over 20 years. And I'm called the Tonic Man just because that's what I talk about all the time. Tonic, JC Tonic. For those of you who are just starting your wonderful JC Tonic voyage, you have only great things to look to in the future. We have folks who join us on these calls and tell their stories, and some of them were on their way to the grave. No kidding, they really were. Many really sick. All the medications that they were using still couldn't seem to bring them around. And when they started the JC Tonic, most of them after disbelieving it for sometimes years, but some of our family members are stubborn and they keep after people until they finally give in and say, okay, I'll try it. I guess the classic story was the one that Lenny told us probably about 20 years ago when a lady called him out of the blue and said, I understand you're really sick and you got to try this wonderful JC Tonic. He said, lady, not interested. Click. 2 seconds later, the phone rings again. It's the lady, and she started to speak, and he said, look, I've tried everything. Nothing works. I don't want any. Don't call me back. Click. Calls back a third time. Before he could hang up, she said, what if it works? What if it works? Those famous, what if it works? 4 words. You should use that when you're talking with people who say, who naysay, who tell you, oh, come on, Mary, come on, John, forget it, come on, I've got good stuff. Well, if you have good stuff and it's not working, what if this works? It seems to me to be a really great answer, so try it, watch and see. It got Lenny, and he's going to be on the call a little later on in the show, and I'm going to ask him to repeat that because it's worth repeating over and over and over again until we get it, until it's impregnated in our brain so that we always think of saying that because it's the easiest way. And believe me, when I say it to people, they look at you with a different kind of a look. All of a sudden they look at you because they're already thinking, what if it does work? I spent thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars or millions of dollars or whatever they've spent on time and energy and money on trying to get well, and the years go by and I'm just managing. What if it works? And the good thing about this is when the Tonic Man tells you that it works, it's because it flat out works, period. And I say period because that's the way things go with the tonic. Because as the disclaimer said on this call, JC Tonic is not a cure for your diabetes or your arthritis or your whatever you have. There is a lady, I hope she's on the call tonight because I'm going to open the lines and ask you all to jump in and say a few words. Either tell a story or ask a question, or in this particular case, this particular lady called me the other day and said she has a dear friend who has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. How do I handle it? Will it help? Well, I'm not too up on the cancer and the stages, but I understand stage 4 is pretty much you're a goner. And pancreatic cancer seems to be a very severe one. So at stage 4, I don't know. I mean, that's really a hard row to hoe to come back from that. But what if it works? What if it works? And a person like that who's facing you-know-what, they've been told by the doctors, there's nothing we can do anymore. We tried our best. We've given you everything that we know how, and it didn't work. I'm sorry. I mean, they did try, and they do try, but they basically sent her home because there's nothing else they can do. So what do you really have to lose? You have absolutely nothing to lose. So that's the way, and that's the message you have to give to those people and say, what does it matter now? The doctor sent you home. They can't do anything. What have you got to lose? That's what Lenny went through, because the doctors told him he's dead. He's dying. They told him he was 23. They said he had a body of an 80-year-old. Oh, talking about 80-year-olds, I want to talk to you about something else. We want to get all the 80 and over JC Tonic drinkers together on one phone call and get them all on the line to tell a little story. Because you know what? I just realized it the other day. We've already had half a dozen on these calls telling their story. And every one of them is lucid, is pretty darn energetic, still lives a good life. Some of them, there was one fellow, Walt, he still has a swimming pool business, bending down, picking up, walking all day long. And he's 83. There are a lot of people over 80 who have been drinking the JC Tonic that are really, really remarkable when it comes to their health, comparatively speaking to other people. So when we do that, the message to all of you is start calling now all the people you know over 80, your grandparents or your parents or their friends or the neighbors or whoever, and tell them we're having this call and that they ought to come and listen to the call to hear some old geezers talk it up, that every one of them is over 80 and is in dynamite shape and got rid of a lot of their health issues. That'll be another time when those folks may relate to it when you say, what if it works? Let them come and listen, and then they're going to maybe think, maybe it will work for them. So those are the kind of things that we would like to make sure that everybody has in their repertoire so you can share that story. Because, folks, 2021 is sharing time. We care, so we share. Or we share because we care. Those are slogans of this organization. They're slogans that are not used enough by folks. Start using them. When you leave a message to someone who you call and it says, sorry, can't take the call, call me back, use one of the slogans. Another good one is, let's stay young together. Take an ounce and feel the bounce. We care, so we share. Use that and you will see that the person who calls you back is going to say, what did you say, Mary? What was that all about? We share, care? What are you talking about? And you say, oh, I was just kidding around because we have this wonderful health tonic we're taking and everybody who uses it shares it with other people because we care about them. And as a matter of fact, Mary, I do care about you and I wish you could get well or better or improve your poor health. And then she's going to want to know a little bit more. And don't forget, on our email blast, scroll down, there's a little orange box. It says SoundCloud. Tap on it, and you'll get to another link where all our calls are there archived, all identified. You can send a person directly to the call about a health issue that they suffer of. Don't tell them about the gout you had and you no longer have when they don't have gout. Send them to whatever they suffer of. High blood sugar, high blood pressure, pains, headaches, name it. We've got it all. Matter of fact, there's a fellow down in southern Texas, you've heard him on the call, Cecil. He had his testosterone checked a number of months ago. Doctor said it's about 300. So Cecil said, well, what do I do to get it better? He said, you can't. He said, as you get older and older, it gets lower and lower, and there's nothing to bring it around. He said, oh, yeah? He says, I got something. He says, yeah, sure. So he told me he's going to drink this JC Tonic in bigger doses, and the doctor said, yeah. Anyway, 6 months later, he goes back at 750. Doctor just about had a conniption. So those are the kind of stories, folks, that you want to make sure that you talk to people about. And you tell it just like I told it. You're not selling anything. You're just sharing it. You really are. If they want to try it, you're there to help them. If they don't, you're there to try it again a few weeks later or another time or the next time you're with them and they complain about their poor health. So that is how you have to be doing it, because this year, this has to go to warp speed. And in order to do that, you only have to talk to a person or two. And if they each talk to a person or two, we soon will not be able to supply, so you better stock up. Because if 100 people tell one person, who each tell one person, who each tell two people. Look, in a fortnight, you're going to have 20 million people, or maybe more. Who's good with a calculator? Work it out. Two people who tell two people who tell two people. I mean, I think you have 4,000 in a day. But that's all it takes. And you know one thing about the JC Tonic, you don't have to worry. Anybody you talk to is sick. Everybody's sick. Not only in this country. Call your relatives wherever they live. We're shipping to every country. Call them and tell them about it. Because you know what? They're the same as we are. Everybody's the same. Getting sicker and sicker and sicker. Taking more and more medication, working less and less, dying faster and faster. So with the JC Tonic, look, this lady with the pancreatic cancer, as we say in the disclaimer, this is not a cure. But what if the JC Tonic in large quantities will boost her immune system sufficiently so the immune system starts to fight back a bit? Just a bit, and then a little bit more. What if all of a sudden, instead of going home to die, she lives another 6 years, 8 years? Wow, that is really something that you could be proud of, being instrumental in giving a person another 4 or 5 years to live. As we like to say here, every day we wake up to save another life. So you may not save it forever. Well, none of us are going to be saved forever, so don't worry about that one. But how about saving her particular life and folks that you know like that for a few more years, even 2 more years? For the little cost? Holy smokes. I'd be looking at my contact list now. Who do I know that has really a bad illness and they haven't been given great news, and get a hold of them? And it doesn't matter if they tell you, oh, you're a nut. Try anyway. What if you break through and out of 10 people, 5 of them, 4 of them, 3 of them, 1 decides to try it and gets results? And it's not like we don't have proof. You've got the SoundCloud, you've got the snippets in the email blast. Just scroll further down, click on each one, and you hear those remarkable success stories. And you don't hear me talking and everybody, you just hear the success story. I took the tonic, I did this, I got that, I did this, and it helped. And that's it. It's like a shorty. Those are the ones to load up to your telephone so that when you're with somebody, and Mary might say, come on, what are you talking about? You say, here, listen to this. And you click one of those, not the long, drawn-out call from SoundCloud, just the snippet. And when she hears it, she's going to say, what? You want to hear more? And then you go to SoundCloud. Or you click on another snippet. Look at this one. Because most people have more than one health issue. They got high levels of sugar, high blood pressure, high this, high that, or low this and low that. Who knows? I've been talking to a lady that has low body temperature. Can't figure out why. Well, she's had 3/4 of her thyroid removed, and she's on medication that's supposed to replace it. Folks, when you have an endocrine gland removed, there's really nothing that's going to replace it exactly. They have some medications that keep you alive and keep it functioning to some extent. But what you want to do is avoid having body parts cut out. Avoid it. So if it means drinking some JC Tonic, certainly would be worth the shot, wouldn't it? Rather than have a body part cut out. I've talked to literally hundreds of people over 50 years that were going to go and have a body part cut out. And I said, why don't you try the tonic first and see what happens? And they ended up not having to have that body part cut out. It maybe didn't get back to perfect, but it got back to good enough that they didn't have to go and have it cut out or a piece of it cut off or whatever it was. So that's another incredible service you can do for people. And word will get out that you're doing that and that this is working, because that neighbor or that friend or that family member has to tell somebody else or 2 other people. And she's going to ask you to talk to the people for you because she doesn't know how to talk about it yet. But you'll have her on the 3-way so she'll learn. And if you don't know how, you'll call your upline, your sponsor. They'll know how. And if you don't have one or they don't know, call the company. We'll do it. I'll do it. Anytime you want to have somebody that's new and you want them to try the JC Tonic, get them on a 3-way with me. I'll tell you. I'll explain it to them for you. And you'll learn that way. And you don't have to be an ambassador of health. You can be a consumer club member. You're drinking it. You're getting these kind of results. Holy smokes. How can you keep it to yourself? But talking about Ambassador of Health, we just revised the enrollment for an ambassador of health. So I want you all to go to the website and you click on Become a Distributor or Be a Distributor, and you scroll down, there's an application. You can go through the application. If you go down to the bottom, you will see the ambassador pouch. It used to be $347 plus shipping. It's now $198 including shipping. Go and have a look, read and see what's inside. And the reason we're doing that is so that you can feel comfortable talking to a person about becoming an ambassador and making at least enough money that they can drink for free. And when Lenny comes on the call in a bit, I'm going to ask him to explain once again. You may think that we're repeating this, and we are. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Remember that old saying, if at first you don't succeed, try and try and try again. But I changed it a long time ago. It's no longer try and try and try again. It's try, 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 and try again. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Try again. And you get better each time you try. Your delivery is better. You understand better. So you will have folks who will say, well, I'm not sure, maybe I'll buy a couple of bottles and try it. Well, that is the very time to tell them about our new ambassador enrollment plan, which is not only $198, but it includes 2 bottles of JC Tonic. So for a few dollars more, they can become an ambassador, and they still have their 2 bottles. Now, in order to be an ambassador, you have to be on autoship. So we've made the autoship package. You can still get the 5 bottles, 4 bottles plus 1 free. But if you can't see your way clear yet to do that, you have a choice. You can take 2 bottles plus 1 free for $150. So if the person was going to buy 2 bottles and you have explained to them how they have to share it with their friends and family and loved ones to save their lives, because you're in the business of saving lives, use those words. I'm in the business of saving lives. When people say, what's your business? I'm in the business of saving lives. I can assure you, they may laugh a bit, but they're going to be curious to ask you, what are you talking about? I guarantee you there is not one person you say that to that's not going to say, what do you mean? Now, you may start talking about it and they'll say, oh, yeah, I have no time for you. That's okay. Next time, they will have time. When they get a 5th prescription, when they're in the hospital a 6th time, when the final time they're going to say, we have to cut some body parts out, they'll start listening, because no one wants to go through that, and everyone will take a little bit of a gamble. Everyone. You just have to be persistent. What's that word? Persistent. Ha! Persistence. That's it. It's persistent. And that's what I've done all my life with this JC Tonic. I've been persistent. I never say no. I always go back again. And you know what? I've knocked on some doors for 40 years. And the guy still says, oh, Anthony, you're such a moron. Oh, come on. And he's having body parts cut out. And he's getting a little senile and a few other things. And a few medications every day. And he still won't listen. So there are some like that. So you give it a try, but there are many, many people in this country, in your surroundings, that you could influence to take it, especially with all the proof we have, all the calls we have, all the testimonials, all the success stories, all the talks that I've given, that Lenny's given, that Betty's given, that the people have talked about this and related stories. Look, if you need a good one, there is one, Bob and Carrie Joe in southern Texas. Bob was a veteran, 38 years. There's a before picture and an after picture in a previous email blast that we sent to you. Go and look for it and show it to people. In the before picture, he's in a wheelchair. His head is slouched over. He's drooling at the mouth. He's got oxygen hoses in his nose. And the doctor's last comment was, he will never talk again. He will never be understood again. He will never understand again. And he'll never walk again. And he's a vet, so they built a big ramp into his house for the wheelchair and fixed the house up inside and, everything to help him die more easily. Basically, he was one of those they sent home to die. And I kid you not, 3 months, 4 months, somewhere around there, He walks into the doctor's office, smiling and jovial with color in his face. Doctor almost had a heart attack. He couldn't understand. He couldn't believe. And his wife, Carrie Jo, decided to start him on the tonic because it was one of those things. What have we got to lose? He's dying. So he took it. An ounce a day. I don't think they took very much more than an ounce a day. Now, somebody with 4-stage pancreatic cancers has to get up to 4 ounces a day at least, maybe more. But there will be significant change even on 1 to 2 ounces. And of course, you never start somebody on 4 ounces when they're ill like that. You start them on a half an ounce. Let the body get used to it. Remember the healing crisis. Remember to listen to that audio again. Remember to share it when you're talking to people. Oh, by the way, Mary, there's one little thing that you have to know. It's called the healing crisis, and you play the audio. Have it on your phone with you so you can play it. It takes a few minutes, and Dr. Bruce Fife does a bang-up job for us talking about that. So Bob and Carrie Jo are now saving other people's lives. Not only that, several months later, the liver that he was diagnosed with cirrhosis and the kidney that was failing and was now only 40% active, they had new tests done. He has no more cirrhosis of the liver, and the kidney is no longer at 40, it's at 100%. Now, how do you like them apples? So those are the stories that you should make sure you have access to quickly. Get them to your phone. And talking about phones, we've just instituted a new texting system. I hope all of you with a mobile phone that has not passed it along to us yet, you can text your mobile number to our text number, which is 702-482-5290. You can listen to this call again, either by phoning in or getting it in your email, and you can jot it down if you've forgotten it. But if you're on the JC Tonic, you probably did not forget it. Here it is again, 702-482-5290. Text in an order, text in card information, text in your mobile number and tell us this is my new mobile number, or please make sure I'm on your texting service. You will get a first text opting in to us. That's the way it has to be. Just like the emails, you have to opt in. And then you'll get regular messages from us. So we're going to use that more and more because it's better and better, faster and faster, and easier on all of you because you get your text, you know right away. You don't have to go home, check the emails, go through 25 spam emails before you get to ours. Maybe ours is in your junk box. So let us know how you like that idea and how you like any of the other ideas that I just put on the table for you tonight. This is the dining table with a banquet. So I wanted to take the time this evening to cover those points because they're all important. And of course, most important of all of this is for you to drink free. So to drink free, you share with other people, get them to be an ambassador on AutoShip. Now, when they're on AutoShip and you're an ambassador and you are on AutoShip, you get a commission every month from that person and from anybody else. You get 2, 3, 5, 6, 10 people all doing it. You're going to be more than drinking free. You're going to all of a sudden have enough extra money to buy your child a new bicycle that they wanted, or a piano lesson, or that new catcher's mitt. Whatever it is that the children need, you'll have a few $100s extra just by saving lives, folks. So remember, as the great Lenny always says, don't sell, tell, don't sell. So you tell your story, you tell about the tonic, you tell about the history, you tell about my father, how he developed it. Learn the history, learn that. Have some of the photos with you. Show his picture and say, this is the fellow who developed it and had it on the market in 1943. Makes a good story. And it's not hard for people. It's not, it doesn't push them around. It's a soft story. It's fun, it's interesting, and above all, it's been tremendously helpful to tens of thousands of people. Okay? So I wanted to invite, actually anybody can come on the call, ask a question, tell a story. A good success story would be great. Now here's what you do. when you star 6, you can unmute yourself, but don't star 6 unmute yourself unless you're going to talk, okay? So just keep your phone the way it is, but if you want to speak, then star 6 and just announce yourself, and I'll try and break up the fight about between the 500 of you that all want to talk at the same time. All right? So star 6. We're waiting.
Anthony?
That's me. Okay. You're the first of the 500.
Okay, Lenny, I'm happy as happy. This is Bill Halverson, and I've been taking an ounce for quite a while now. In my 60 years of diabetes, it couldn't be better. My tests are good. My eyes are good. At 72, I'm working most of the time physically. I'm just doing great. The tonic is the major key, and eating right.
Well, Bill, give us the numbers. What do you mean your sugar levels are down?
Well, my sugar levels are way better when I'm working, but I just have to make sure, like our body secretes insulin all the time, and half the time I forget to take, a shot. But, let's see, I've been, today is, I started out high as 219, 124, 122, 130, and I try to keep a level of around 140 because I feel better around that. But my doctor says that of all the diabetics she has, I'm the best diabetic. But like I say, I got it in 1961, and we're not going to give up on the tonic unless you run out. And we got quite a bit.
Well, Bill, the next step is to tell your doctor that if she thinks yours is so good compared to all her other patients, why doesn't she get them on the tonic and you can supply the tonic to them? She may do that if she understands this a bit. She may not want to take it and prescribe it, and she may, but probably not. But she could tell them to call you and start drinking that tonic.
Yep, that was one of the things. I've been making a list, like you said, of people to talk to. And Peggy's doing it too. So she's on a phone call right now, but I'm the leader of the pack for our family tonight.
Well, fantastic and super, and thank you so much for sharing that, because once again, everybody out there, there's an awful lot of people with high sugar. So a 72-year-old who can maintain it and keep it down like that, that's all you have to do. Bring it down to a reasonable balance and you're home free, because point of fact, that's what your body, when it's healthy, does. It brings it down to a balanced level and you're fine. So good for you, Bill, and thank you very much for doing that.
I'm sure there's a ton of diabetics. I'm type 1. I've taken close to 70,000 shots in my life, so it's harder to control the type 1, but if anybody ever wants to call me and talk about their diabetes, I'll tell them what I do.
That is really great. We appreciate it. And folks, you just call home office and we'll pass you along the info of Bill, and with the greatest pleasure. That's true, Bill. You are a type 1, and most people will say, well, there's nothing to be done about type 1. Well, maybe you can't get rid of it completely, but if you can bring the numbers down, that makes your body much happier and healthier. So that's a huge improvement.
Yep, I'm happy, and my body's happy, so I'll be going for a long time yet.
Perfect. Maybe you'll be in the next 80-plus group in a few years.
Well, I got 8 years to go. I'm going to be 73 here in a couple months, so.
Well, you got to just hang in and wait for it.
Yep. Okay.
Super, Bill. Thanks a lot.
Yep.
Okay. Who's next? Anybody want to talk? Star 6 your phone. Nobody wants to talk. What about the great Lenny? Is the great Lenny on?
Anthony, this is Brian.
Brian. Hello there, Brian.
Hey, I just got a question. Some people have a little issue with flavor of it. Is it okay to mix it in like with Crystal Light iced tea or anything like that?
Well, I would make sure that I check what I'm drinking as a drink, but usually you can mix it in anything. I mean, we've had people who put it in coffee, make a tea out of it, put it in any kind of OJ. I mean, anything you want, doesn't matter.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Does not affect it at all. And the other day, with all the cold weather throughout the U.S., people calling saying what happens if it freezes because shipments have been delayed and so on. And the good news is you can freeze it solid like a brick, let it thaw out, shake it up, drink it. It's as good as new.
All right, that sounds great.
So when you mix it, are you talking about yourself, Brian, or someone asked you that?
Someone else.
Yeah. So it's a good thing to mention when you're making a presentation, everybody, to people. Say, by the way, the flavor is a little herbal. Put it in anything you like. It doesn't matter as long as you get it in your body one way or another. Perfect, Brian. Tell the folks, you've been drinking this for at least 20 years?
Yeah, it's going to be 21 in May.
21 in May.
21 years.
You're too far away from the 80 to get into the 80 group.
Yeah, I got 19 more years to go.
Okay, well, good. And you'll make it in top shape if you keep drinking the JC.
Well, that's the plan.
Okay. All right, Brian. Thanks a lot.
You bet. Can you give that text number one more time?
You need a double shot to get that memory going there, Brian.
Well, you went too fast.
Okay.
I didn't have a pen ready.
Okay. 707-482-5290.
Thank you.
Thank you to you. Okay, who's next?
Tonic Man, I am here.
Tony, Lenny the Great, he's there. I thought you fell asleep. You went. You went to get another shot of JC just before your presentation.
Instead of *6, I hit *7, so that didn't work.
Hanging around the casino too much.
Yeah. No, I'm always happy to be here on the call. You are absolutely right. So many people are skeptical because we hear so much. I mean, we're bombarded sometimes, especially when you're not feeling well and you're searching. You're at the store, you're at the health store, or whatever it is. You ask, what should I do with this problem? And, they're going to send you to 2 different products or 3 or 4, So when someone tells you about JC Tonic, you get the same roadblocks. Like, you want to hear, but you're so skeptical, it prevents you from actually making a move. And I'm one of those. I mean, I didn't say yes right away. I had to be sure because I'm spending my money. So that's why people are skeptical. They have to spend money.
In your case, you just about spent all your money already on trying to find something.
Yeah, so I was discouraged already, but yet I was still looking. So even though somebody might say no for a few times or even a whole year, that's happened. Just be understandable. I mean, be in their shoes. I've always been patient, but I tell enough people that eventually someone will call me and say, yeah, I'm ready to try it. So,
and Lenny, you mentioned trying all kinds of different things, and that's what a lot of people will tell you, tell me, tell us if we're talking and trying to introduce it. And I remember we have a tremendous long-time ambassador of health, Ruthie, who, must be 20 years ago, she went into the health food store and the drugstores and priced all our herbs and all our minerals, what a month's supply would cost. And the one she found and put together, it was like $350 or $400 at that time. I mean, it was like 20 years ago. It's probably more like $600 now. If you want to take all what's in our formula on a monthly basis. So when people might say, $75.95, that's really expensive, then use that as the example of, beg your pardon, expensive? If you buy all these ingredients, it'll cost you $400, $500, $600 a month. And I remember that fellow, Jimmy, who got rid of his Alzheimer's and a bunch of other stuff? He said the last program I was on was $350 a month. And this is already 15 years ago or 20. So you're right. It's a good thing. And again, I'm telling these stories for everybody listening when they're talking to someone, because you don't think of those things unless you think about them when we talk to you about them and you put them in your repertoire and mention them. It's a great, great story to tell.
Oh, it is. And boy, I remember when I added up everything I was taking. I mean, I was like, oh man, I didn't even realize
until your bank account was empty.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, I was spending way more than what it cost for JC Tonic. So I was really happy when I was able to eliminate those things. And here's what I always, it was actually my wife. She says, just try it and see what happens. Because she was worried. I mean, she was crying for days trying to figure out what she can do to help me because I was really suffering. Man, I was in pain. I was itchy. I was miserable. I was depressed. I mean, all that adds up too. So, when when we found JC Tonic, she's like, take it every day. She was my anchor to make sure I drank it every day. And you know what? I was so glad I did because I was able to eliminate all those other things. When your father said that this was a whole body tonic, I thought it was a hoax. So if there's someone on the line thinking this may be a hoax, well, all I can tell you is drink it every day and give it some time because everybody's different. Some people get results maybe the first hour. I don't know. I've had people drink 1 ounce and like, whoa, what's going on?
I've seen that as well.
Yeah. But then I had people like my wife drink it for 9 months and think that nothing's happening. She's like, this doesn't work. And then one day she was vacuuming the rug at 5 a.m, which she's never done. She was always waking up late. She never even made my lunch in the morning because she couldn't get up that early. I had to be at work at 5 a.m. So, I had to just go without lunch sometimes.
So I guess when she was vacuuming at 5, she had already made your lunch.
Oh, man, I was freaked out because I'm like, it's Saturday. What are you doing up? Now's the time to sleep in. What are you, crazy? She was vacuuming the floor at 5 a.m. I was just dumbfounded. She goes, oh, I guess it does work. But here's the thing. Sometimes you don't realize it's working, but other people see it. And that was my mom's case. I'd call her up every day just to check. I'm not trying to, I wasn't trying to like, Mom, you need to take it. I was just concerned about her because I was worried. My mom, her house was really going downhill, and I didn't have the time because I was working full time. I didn't have the time to go over there and mow her lawn all the time, So I was getting frustrated because my mom was tired. She was sick. She wasn't feeling good. And I said, Mom, you got to try this. And she says, I don't like stuff like that. But I got her to get it. But I'd call her every few days. Mom, how you doing? Oh, this stuff don't work. I remember. She'd be mad and that she was spending her money, on JC Tonic. And one day she said she went to work because she was a bus aide for the school district. So she would be watching the kids on the bus. So one day she said that she got off the bus and the driver called her over and said, Mary Lou, what are you taking? My mom's like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, you got to bounce to your step finally. She goes, this is not like you. She goes, no, you're always moaning and groaning how tired you are and how pain you're in. And she goes, you're bouncing right off the bus. What are you taking? So right away, that driver recognized that she was different. So my mom called me up and says, Lenny, you can't believe it. I think it's working because my friends are telling me that I got to bounce to my step. And I was laughing. I was like, oh, yeah, right. She goes, but I don't see it. I'm like, oh, here we go again. So it was like a month later when she called me up.
A lot of people, they don't really realize it, and things have changed with their body, their nails, their hair, their lines, their sleep, their pooping, and they don't really put their finger on it. And yet when you bring it up, they say, holy smokes, that's true.
Oh, no, it's true. I had people say, oh, it's making me use the bathroom. I said, well, that's what you needed. You're plugged up. You're cranky. I mean, oh, man. I said, you're using the bathroom because your body's saying get rid of what's in there. So the tonic will trigger your systems to start working. So sometimes you're thinking negative, like my mom did, but it's actually working. Because I'll never forget the day I called up. She was always sleeping on the couch after work. She's worn out, tired, done nothing. Well, I called one day, and my brother's like, she's out in the yard. And I'm like, huh? Yeah, she's been out there for hours pulling weeds. So he called her in. This is when we had dial phones still. But she came in, and she goes, this is incredible. She goes, I'm over here pulling weeds for hours. I never do this. See, so that took 3 or 4 months. So if you're drinking JC Tonic and you're thinking, oh, this ain't working, let me tell you, if you just stick with it on a daily basis, eventually you'll see. But people will see it first, and then you'll see how, because you'll feel better, you'll have more energy. So, wow, that's just drink the tonic.
But Lenny, I want to make sure that folks understand that what you just related is not the norm. There are some people that it takes some time. Most people will feel something's changing on the first bottle. And we actually count on that because we have a money-back guarantee on the first bottle that people drink. And we count on the first bottle working so that they don't want to return it. And the good news is that I think it was in 2003, our credit card processor said they were going to come and audit the books, and I was curious, what's up? Well, they said there's something strange. We have to audit the books. I said, come and audit away. Have a good time. And they wrote us a letter after the audit, and they said, because they said to us, the reason we're here is you don't have any returns. And I said, well, that's because we have no returns. Well, they said, we'll see. And 2 months later, they wrote us a letter and said, you're right. You have no returns. This is unheard of in direct selling. There is not one company that uses credit cards that doesn't have a slew of returns every day because it works.
It works. Plus, I cared about my mom. I care about my friends or workmates or whatever. And I always encourage them to keep taking it. So I had a buddy at work, and he came in, and it wasn't for himself, but he says, you know what? My wife's a slug. I go, what are you talking about? Why are you talking? He goes, well, she works in the laundromat, and I work full time. She comes home. She doesn't cook no meals. She doesn't clean the house. He goes, she just lays there on the couch. He goes, you think this stuff might help her? I'm like, well, what about you? He goes, no, it's my wife. So I convinced him finally after a few weeks to buy some for his wife. And it took a little bit, but I'll never forget. He came to work. He goes, you guess what? He goes, Lenny, you can't believe this. My wife cooked me a meal the other night. And I'm like, huh? He goes, yeah, instead of going on the couch, she started cooking, and pretty soon she's cleaning and wiping things down. And I'm like, really? He was so excited. But it's just because I kept asking, not, like, is it working? I just would ask him, how's your wife doing? How are you doing? Are you okay? So I encourage them to stick with it. And sooner or later it kicks in, and voila, and they see. So it takes
follow-up. That's it.
It takes care.
Yeah. That follow-up is all important. All you folks, when you start getting people drinking it, follow up to check on them, make sure they are drinking it, make sure that they didn't maybe like the taste and just put it aside. Tell them to mix it in something if they've forgotten that they can. All those things are important, the follow-up, until they're drinking it regularly, and then you follow up less often, but still, people need to hear from you. They want to relate their story. They want to hear from you. And as a matter of fact, our great ambassador, Betty, why don't you jump on here and tell them how you do it? Just *6 and come on the call. Because Betty calls people, it goes to voice message, she calls back. It's like the lady who called Lenny 3 times without not even a minute of waiting, just called back until Lenny said, what if it works? Same thing with people that you're dealing with. They become friends, family. You end up with relationships. I mean, it's amazing. Anybody else want to say a word while we're on the call? We're going to wrap it up pretty soon. You're all welcome to jump in, ask a question, tell us something that we don't know, or tell us your success story. The countdown begins. 10,
Can you
9,
hear me, Anthony?
8.
This is Ruthie.
Ruthie, look at Ruthie.
There. How y'all doing?
Hey, this is Ruthie, folks, the lady I told you about who went out and compared all the ingredients and how much it would cost to take every month. Ruthie, hello there.
I am fantastic. I've been listening to the call, so please put me on that 80 list. I'm 81. I'll be 82 in June. And listen, guys, I took my first herbal, and I've been on over 20-some years. I am pain-free still. I am 81, wrinkle-free. Hello, I'm wrinkle-free, pain-free, and my doctor said all of my vital signs are perfect.
Wait till they see the picture. Ruthie has a before and after picture, folks. The before picture looks like she's 103, and the after picture looks like she was 23. We're going to send these pictures out when we get all the the old gang together, and send the before and after pictures out with the email announcing the call. So Ruthie's is going to be there.
Yes, but with the old gang, my doctor said that I'm in a 60-year-old body. She wanted to say 50. I said, push me up to 60 because I am 81. So I had to push me up. So I take no medication. I take my tonic every day since I've been on it. And every year since I started taking it, I look younger and younger and younger. You can't hardly find no 81-year-old women not wrinkled.
And you folks, you should. I was at her 80th birthday party. She danced up a storm. She had the band stay till 4 o'clock in the morning to play for her so she could dance.
Yes. So listen, stay on it, guys. Please. It's the best thing you could ever do.
Thanks a lot, Ruthie, for jumping in and saying that. That's right, folks. Stay on it and join the 80s and the 90s and the 100 Club. And you can do it with the JC Tonic. So thanks a lot, Ruthie.
You're welcome, but my 80 is just a number. I don't feel 80. I don't.
Well, that's the whole deal. With the JC,
the JC Tonic. Stay on it.
Yep.
But add me to the 80s. I'll be 82 in June. And thank you.
We'll try and get this call together before then and make sure that you're there, Ruthie, and we will be in touch.
I'll be there.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Lenny.
Yes, sir.
I think we'll wrap up the call. Unless there's somebody that wants to jump in. Going once, going twice, gone. So everybody, you heard it from Lenny's going to be 60, Ruthie's 81. Look, I'm 83 and still going strong. This is the most really remarkable whole body tonic that has ever hit this planet. And it is in your interest to not only stay on it for the duration, but it is in the interest of the planet that you share it with other people. Don't be stingy. Don't keep it to yourself. Spread good news. Holy smokes, there's enough bad news going around. Spread the good news and get everybody drinking it. And if they laugh at you, next, talk to the next person. Some of them are still laughing at me. Doesn't matter. Next, okay? So have yourself a great rest of the evening. Thank you all participants. And next week we'll have another great success story call. And if you have questions, we'll be able to do something like this more often because it's good to hear what you all have to say and what you want to contribute. That helps an awful lot of people. So as we like to say around here, Lenny?
Take an ounce and fill the bounds.
Take an ounce and feel the bounce. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Good night.
Uric Classic Whole Body Tonic is a dietary supplement, not a drug. Therefore, it is useful to affect the structure and/or function of your body in various ways, but it is not intended to and will not cure, mitigate, treat, or prevent any disease. Individual testimonials may not be rep everyone's experience and do not constitute scientific evidence. Uric Corporation does not make any drug or treatment claims for its product.